Well, surprise, surprise, surprise. I'm here. I know I don't know what time it is anywhere else. I just thought I'd jump on and say hello to everybody. And yeah, not been on for a while. I've been really tired. Um, yeah, I've just been really tired. So I've been doing lots of resting, and I was about to get into my class or all my readings and everything for the week. And I thought, just let's have a chat, and I'll come online and see what's happening and say hello to everybody because, been a little bit. Hello, Angela. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm just a little bit tired, but that's okay. Other than being tired and, wanted to catch up. I haven't, as I said, I see what's going on. I don't discuss what's going on, but there's some stuff happening. There's still going on. Just very interesting. And, yeah. And I think, hello, the fox, the colt, yes. It's a bit like that. It would seem that Katie Joy's son unfortunately is tested positive to COVID, and that means that she's been online a lot more, which baffles me. But anyway. According to Todd, one of the nurses, he got it from one of the nurses allegedly. My back hurting, but I'm doing all right. I play the Warriors I've seen. Look, I think so too. Yeah. Just things are crazy, and the world is just really crazy. I mean, our politicians are all crazy as well. They think that being in power, they can get lots of, they can do what they like. For somebody that's been, for somebody that was blocked, I got a dinner invitation on Tuesday night. Live is to the fox like coffee is to my cool. And the thing is, anyone that knows me knows I like a free feed and a coffee. That's my kryptonite. It's my kryptonite. So, oh really? There's a video called "We Are the World for Ukraine." Wow. The thing that I find to be really sad is that there are, Russians that are speaking out against what's happening in Ukraine, and of course, all that's happening is Russia's getting sanctions. But there's people in Russia that are suffering as well. I know the Fox, yeah, and then I got an email to say that it could be in jeopardy. They might have to reschedule. But as I said, it's not bad contact for somebody that's I've been blocked. That's okay. I just keep responding. I tell you, this person that you just cannot get rid of. They just, you just want to think about me all the time. Anyway. So, yeah. Really, I've got nothing to talk about, really. I don't really have a lot to talk about. I just wanted to come on and say hello and see what all the goss was. Although, I do know that Just Doom had a video done about him from Boss Hog, and Just Doom's done a few videos today. I haven't watched his videos yet, but yes, I know that, the other day when he came in and said that he was getting a lot of flack, yes, that is happening. So I've seen that. So lots of interesting things happening. But as I said, I'm just happy to stay in my lane. I just will do what I have to do. I have to check out. Lots of cursing actually. I know he does one of Urban Dictionary words actually, and that was one of his streams about the Urban Dictionary. Some of the meanings. So, yeah. Oops, don't know why I've got war crimes mentioned. That was the wrong trigger warning. me pull up the right one. Yeah, that's it. You like Urban Dictionary, the Fox? Yeah, so he does a few streams of Urban Dictionary, looking at different words. Yeah. So it's raining today, so it's the first sign that we're heading into winter today, which was interesting. Although I'm sitting here in a short sleeve shirt. Need general trigger warning, save a hassle. Well, that's why I just thought I'll put it along the bottom of the screen. I don't need to do it then. I just do one. Yeah, very interesting. Oh wow! Just read that Estelle Harris, who played the mother of George Costanza's, passed away. She was 93. That's quite sad, but I tell you what, that role was amazing. George's mother's role in Seinfeld, one of my favorite characters. Estelle Harris, best known for her roles in Seinfeld and Toy Story, has died at age 93. Harris's agent confirmed the actor's death in Palm Desert, California on Saturday. Her iconic voice played an important part in the two greatest roles as George Costanza's overbearing and indelicate mother in the 90s sitcom Seinfeld. Harris bickered with her on-screen husband, Frank, played by Jerry Stiller. Oops. Only 27 episodes? No way. Really? She was only in 27 episodes. Despite only appearing in 27 eposodes throughout the show's 9 seasons, Harris's performance made Estelle Costanza a memorable character. She also played the voice of Mrs. Potato Head in the second, third, and fourth Toy Story. And the final was her last credited role. There we go. I just, whenever I think of George's mother, I just laugh because, that is just a role that was 27 episodes over 9 years. You just felt like she was in it all the time. It was, such a memorable role. I mean, wow. That's pretty, that's sad, but that's amazing that she lived to 93. So, yeah. So I've got hellos. There's 7 people watching. So Sarah Palin apparently is we are feeling lovely. Are we feeling lovely? I don't know if I'm feeling lovely. Sarah Palin apparently is going to run for an Alaska seat in Congress. Hasn't she tried? Didn't she try, Sarah Palin? That's right. She was lonely. Are we feeling lonely? Possibly. Yeah. The Republic. Yeah, that's right. She ran for vice president in 2008. She's announced her a run in the Alaska seat. Hello, Just Doom. Just talking about you. Were your ears burning? I listened to what a certain Piggy said. That's all right. I watched it. I out of just interest anyway. It doesn't matter. So Sarah Palin's apparently going to run for a seat in the House of Representatives. So she's back. You hope it was good? It was interesting. Just doing interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's not worth your time. I've done it for you. I watched it for you. But apparently I'm sick, and apparently, yeah, you've come and joined the sick and twisted side, so guilty is charged. Sick and twisted, sick and twisted. That's okay. I was always sick and twisted. And crazy. So anyway. Yeah. There is some Urban Dictionary ones on there already, the fox. And I had to cover my ears a few times because of some of the meanings I didn't really understand. I had to have someone interpret them for me because I'm I'm innocent. Robin says, "Why are we sick and twisted? I don't know, but apparently Dom's come and joined. He's because he's left a certain creator. He's now been deemed to have turned. He's joined the sick and twisted side. But as I said the other day, he's one of my OGs, so he's always on the sick and twisted side." Always on the sick and twisted side. Yeah, look, it's okay. Actually, I'm procrastinating. I should actually be doing study, but I haven't, and I've just had to change my printer cartridge over, and I went, oh, I could continue on with the study, or I could come online and say hello to everyone. I chose you. So yeah. But look, some interesting things have happened in the last. So our favorite creator has been posting like crazy. I think there's been 3 Instagram lives in the last 24 hours. Hey, I plan to create. I was thinking about you the other day. I wondered how you were going. Oh, hopefully you're doing better. Procrastination is easy. That could be a song. Oh, look, procrastination is easy because everybody can do it, eh? Oh yeah, that's right, Robin. I know. I was looking at my channel. I was looking at YouTube, and I went, "What is there to watch?" And I thought, well, I've already watched. Well, as I said, I thought, I'll watch this because it's something about the creator talking about Just Dream. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just watch it, see what it's got to say. My hair curled a little bit, but as I said, it's all right. And then I was interested. But apparently we're gonna get all of his secrets. So I want to watch that one. And if that creator wants to go after me, that's okay because I have no secrets. Oh, I'll be interested to find out. I'm feeling okay, horrendously fatigued, says Plan to Create. Wow. Now, this was supposed now. There's a certain creator that we talk about that works through procrastination because everyone can do it. You can do it. Oh, just don't worry about me. It's just I'm really boring. I'm really, really boring. They can go after me. I'm really boring. Hey, I've been followed. I've had people follow me and everything, and they just discovered that I just go from home to church to home to church to home to church to school to church to whatever. Like they gave up. Oh, dear. Anyway, the other day, we were looking at someone's Instagram and they were complaining about the fact that their child was being talked about. Yes, I know, the fox. But then, same person posts this about their son. V was exposed on Monday. He's positive today. He hasn't had the booster yet. So far, he's doing okay and only has a fever. Hubby and I are still negative. So glad we got vaccinated, or this could have been so much worse. We're officially in quarantine. Edit. I want to be clear that he was exposed by a home care nurse, but no one is blaming her. We know that the virus can spread a variety of ways. Healthcare workers are susceptible due to their jobs. But he has not been locked in our basement or denied a life. He's a child we love and adore. He was vaccinated in December, and we are presently working on getting him back into in-person school. He's been well cared for and loved throughout the pandemic. If it offends you that my child is medically fragile and we protect him, that's on you, not me. Interesting, because I saw earlier that there was some comments made by Todd, and they've been removed, and she's edited to add that it was a nurse that actually gave it to him. Trust his immune system. I can't. He's immunocompromised. Now, people have criticised her now because she's got a sick child and she has been posting incessantly, and she's done 3 lives in 24 hours. Now, I just know when my child is sick and I'm a mother, stuff the world. My child, even my big children, my 22 and 19-year-old, if they're sick, stuff the world. Mummy has to look after them. Every child doesn't every child want their mummy when they're sick? Even as an adult, when I'm sick, I want my mummy. So this is here. She says this, and then look at this. So here she says he's COVID. Now, I don't want to criticize. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that if you don't want your child talked about, don't put it on there. It's simple, right? Apparently, Derek Dillard passed the bar exam too. That's good. It's interesting because we don't have to do a bar exam as such. We actually have to apply to the Supreme Court and get admitted. But after my law degree, I have to go do a year of, it's like an internship with assignments and stuff like that. And then you have to apply to the Supreme Court and you have to fill out an affidavit to say that you are of good character, and you actually have to list all your, you know how I was talking about dirty laundry before? You know how I was talking about dirty laundry before? Well, that's where you air all your dirty laundry, all the things that you've done, anything that they could find out about that could jeopardize the fact. So they want to know whether you're going to disclose the skeletons in your closet. Doesn't mean, because what happens is there are actually so many court cases at the moment of people wanting to be admitted to practice. It's called being admitted to practice, which is really quite interesting, because why are you practicing if you're, anyway, that haven't declared stuff, and then it's found out about, and then they're told that they're not of good character to be able to be a lawyer, because a lawyer has to be sort of not above the law, but they represent the law, so they have to be above moral standing and character. So, and essentially, we're told we've all done things in our past. We've all done stupid things in our past. They're not held against you if you actually declare it and you're honest about it. So we won't necessarily have to sit bar exams or anything. But then if you want to, once you've been a lawyer for a while, you then can go on and become do the training for barrister and all that sort of stuff. And you have to do ongoing training every year. So you have to have so many. And it's like most professions these days, you have to have so many professional points to be able to stay a fully practicing lawyer. So anyway, there's some information for you. So, yes, that's why Christian Porter can go back straight into practice. But the thing is, well, he probably, and the thing is, here's the really interesting thing, Robin, that's been discovered. if once you're admitted, it's very, very hard to get yourself kicked off, aka Christian Porter. But he'd still be sitting, he would have already been admitted to practice. He would have just either kept up his points so that he could still be practicing, or he would still be a lawyer and just has to do his points to read. But once you're admitted, it's very hard. Apparently, it's very hard. You got to do something really bad to get yourself kicked off. But yes, Christian Porter, I mean, there's still technically allegations, even though I think we all think that it is possibly true. And I don't know how I would feel if if it was me, right? I would want an investigation to clear my name, to prove that I was right, and to prove that the allegation was false. You just can't make these things disappear. I would struggle to be able to use him as my lawyer, knowing that. But anyway, that's just me. That's just my opinion. Yeah, so yeah. I guess it's a bit like police officers as well. You know, they've got to be, you know, of a high, you have to have a high, you know, stand, you know, you can't have driving records and you can't have this and you can't have that. So, but admitting, as I said, you know, we all do stupid things in the past, and it's really about making sure that you're honest and you declare it. So then we go, 7M stated that members are separate from the church. There's a live there. She's got her Snoopy shirt on. What does the Snoopy shirt mean? Usually it means that, is that the shirt that she wears when she gets sued? The Snoopy shirt? Then she's got, this account is the weirdest account I've ever seen. Like, I would lie about him getting COVID. This account loves me. Thanks for the publicity. It's the mum shaming with the love streaming for me. So this person says, if she was worried about V, she wouldn't be love streaming. Don't you think it's weird that there's been talk of, without a crystal ball, receiving complaint from 7M and all of a sudden V's sick? Weird, right? Yeah, you have to be clean skin, says Plan to Create. That's right, yeah. I know when I actually applied for a job as a tram driver, I did everything. I marked up the interview, but I actually got the highest score on the multitasking score. And I know that you had to have a clean clean record for 3 years. So she says James Derrick publicly released a statement, which most people says is not written by him. In his statement, he says his management did the following: managed his finances, paid his taxes, controlled his schedule, booked his jobs. He said people hire managers to control their finances and bookings. Managers do not control someone's finances. Managers are not booking agents. Talent agents are required in law in CA to be licensed and surely hold a surety bond. Agents are responsible for booking and under law are supposed to ensure that the talent is not exploited by using them. Screen Actors Guild urge all actors to not work with any agency that aren't licensed. Well, first of all, they're not actors, they're dancers, right? They also urge actors and to join the union and use agencies that are 7M is not licensed nor franchised as a SAG agent or manager. Then today, 7M said they don't control anything and all talent are individual. They claim they don't work for them and aren't managing any aspects of their lives. Why did James say a month ago, it's the job of the manager to control their talents, finances, bookings, and schedules? I've heard of that. I've heard of managers doing that. I'm signed up with an agency. They book my jobs. Although they don't manage my finances, but they book jobs for me and they pay me. They send me they sort out what taxes need to be paid from each job, make sure that that's all correct, you know, so that I can do my taxes. I don't know. This is a very interesting post because I'd like Josh Duggar's sentencing to happen because I want to see the tears. Because she says, sometimes I go to Washington County Detention Center to check in on Josh Duggar. Yep, the Pedo is still locked up, and one less child will be heard again tonight, waiting for his 40 years and counting on May 25th. He's not going to get 40 years. He's not going to get 40 years. 40 years is considered life. He's not going to get life. I'm sorry, Katie Joy, he's not going to get life. You're not going to get life for having that. I'm sorry. The people that filmed it and made it and distributed it would get that. It was on his computer and he was viewing it. As far as I know, from what I've seen, he's not distributed it. He's not going to get a higher sentence than the people that actually made it, right? Oh, so frustrating. And then this is the classic. She says, in November 9, 2017, email church members Hannah Grace Lee now she instructed members to create fake accounts to increase views and engagement on Chloe Sheen's videos and social media. Who else do we know that likes to increase their on social media? Can you create an account and like video comments and posts and videos? You can make a comment on every Instagram post for at least one identity. Keep your identity a secret by creating a separate account, but still making your fake account look legit with followers. Let me know. This may explain all the bot like comments on the posts of the dancers. Using fake accounts to increase engagement is a violation of most terms of services on various platforms. This cheats the system into believing the post is more popular than it really is in reality. Do we have a pot calling a kettle? I'd be really careful, 7M dancers, before your account gets terminated if they're still doing this. My sources always brings receipts. Oh dear. Then she goes, we will attack this year. What I need from you is your contingent effort to let go and obey. You don't need to understand anything. You just need to do it. Once an instruction is given, it doesn't stop there. Sometimes there are back and forth communication to clarify. There are many and find out how to carry out that task. If you're uncertain, you can always ask. I noticed that she's got it watermarked without a crystal ball. Is that what she's sending out to her stands? Because she's saying it's an email to the women of Shekinah Church. Where? All I can see, it says without a crystal ball. You cannot just post a screenshot without the. I mean, this one is more credible because you can see that it says Hannah Grace Lee, but I still don't know that it's real because there's still no headers or anything there. But that has more credibility than just a screenshot that you've put there and then telling me didn't take the word obey out marriage vows long ago. It was yes, I think so. Yeah. Actually, I went to the most interesting wedding yesterday. Went to a very interesting wedding yesterday. It was like going to it was like a church service with the wedding bells tacked in at the end, and there were two sermons. There was the sermon for the wife and the sermon for the husband. Actually, they were really good because and it was a Christian wedding, and so the verses were from Proverbs 31. And let's say, I don't know many women who are Proverbs 31 wives, which is the ideal wife, and it was about the fact that. Anyway, it was very interesting, and the and then there was about the sermon to the husband, and that was based on Ephesians, but it was actually really well done. But they did address this because Katie Joy likes to talk about the word submit, but it was all about the fact that submission in the Bible was about equality and sacrifice. For each one has to make a sacrifice. You need to submit to each other equally to make your marriage work. So it was, definitely interesting, and picked up a few other things, but I'm sure Katie Joy would still say it was bad. But anyway, But yeah, they did. But again, it also depends. I think it also depends whether you have a civil, what they call a civil ceremony, and a church ceremony. So, for example, if you get married within the confines of the church, the wordings are sometimes different than if you weren't a member of the church and you were just getting married, So, that's the thing. Yeah. And so sometimes, I mean, I know when we see that might be part of what their church says, but but the pastor who is could also be a celebrant and does other weddings. So, as I said, we have there's two different types of stuff. That there's the marriage for the people within the church, members of the church, and then for anybody else. But anyway, so yeah. I love, without a crystal ball or clue, they essentially take all of Katie Joy's posts, and so here we go. This one, so she's put here human trafficking, and they've put LA trafficking is not human trafficking. Not all trafficking is the same. We in LA suffer a huge trafficking problem. LA is the king of rush hour traffic. I guess you call it LA trafficking. KJ fantasizes about human trafficking without a single credible witness or documentation. What is human trafficking? If we were to guess, it would be likened to slavery with little to no pay, a sweatshop perhaps. If that is the case, Katie should use her efforts and daily average of 16 hours on her phone, yes, we have proof to this, to take down Apple Inc. with their factory in China. There's actual proof of this, whereas in the case of 7M, there is none, except some really old allegations and her twisted imaginations. Total collective work hours of 7M dancers yesterday, 0. Anticipated work hours today, 0. Oh, except one person, Kylie, who teaches private dance classes because she loves working with kids, which is outside of 7M. The average amount of time the dancers work for 7M is 0 to 5 hours a week, depending on the jobs lined up. The rest of the time, they are free to nap, socialise, create content, work out, and live their best lives. It is not monitored or dictated by anyone, and those hours certainly are not paid by 7M. They are individual talents, and it's up to them to build their skills and resume on their own. They are not employees. We don't monitor breaks or lunches or trips to the restroom, for crying out loud. If a job comes in, then they perform, they're paid. Management companies are allowed to take commission between 10 to 20% on average for their services, and that is not human trafficking. That's called business. My management company, my company takes 30, but anyway. Where two parties mutually benefit from sharing of services. Katie, some of these dancers pay more to the IRS than you make in a year. So your claims that they do not get paid are absolutely ludicrous. Everything about the way 7M operates is 100% legal and above board. KJ has gone to great lengths to damage the reputation of 7M and thereby harm the income of the dancers. This is because she believes the lies she's heard and believes in her own mind all her crimes will be handled through legal matters. And this is the thing. If you do harm to somebody's income or business, that can be a huge claim. That is a claim. So that says Rick Allen Ross not endorsed. Cult expert Ross Allen Ross explains marriages in Shekinah Church. So says, imagine a surgeon who has never operated on a human body is assigned to do your vital organ surgery. In the same way, I'd not let KJ, who's never helped a single cult victim in their life, lead a supposed cult rescue operation. If helping a victim of a cult is truly your mission, at least find someone who's reputable and experienced led in it. Otherwise, we are left with nothing but a clown show or circus act. KJ is a gossip vlogger who's never helped even one person out of a cult situation, let alone helped anyone for that matter. I mean, do you think doxing and harassing victims is an effective or productive way of helping them? I'd like to ask these cult experts whether they'd recommend any of the methods that KJ uses. Furthermore, in a court of law, you can buy expert witnesses to vouch for any point of view. So this line of one-sided expert opinion is of dubious value. KJ is counting on her subs lacking critical thinking training to hammer her point and regurgitate her rhetoric. They are basing their opinions on one-sided report, assuming what KJ says is true. Lining up people to expound one side of an argument to prove one's point is a very amateurish approach that will never stand up in a more professional or intellectual setting. Again, a clown show. There we go. So, as I said, they go and every one of her posts. I think. Oh yeah, so again, they admit this is a 7M account with more smearing for while crying legal action. So she says, so this account cannot stop exposing themselves as 7M. The account has smeared and slandered me for reporting on 7M and Shekinah Church from public records, court records, criminal records, bankruptcy records, depositions, interviews with former members, family, and alleged victims. Based on my investigation, there is a lot that is not right about this situation. In discovery, my legal team can subpoena all of their bank accounts, their taxes, their management contracts and pay slips, and all the social media and email accounts assigned to the members. Guess what, Katie Joy? They can do the same. Ditto. Not to mention, this would expose any and all activity that is not legal. Management has a right to take a commission. This is true. Managements do not house their talent or have their talent around their church. How much are the dancers paid? Donating to the church and paying money to the man of God. Real management does not run smear campaigns against reporters. Why? You're not a reporter. Why hasn't 7M gone after Rolling Stones, The Sun, Daily Mail, Daily Beast, New York Post, Gawker, Daily Mail, TV Insider, New York Magazine, Cosmopolitan, or any other former members or families that have spoken out? Because these people are talking about it 24/7. When there is overwhelming evidence, there is something not right happening. It generally means something right isn't happening. What? Human trafficking takes many forms, and this could or could not be. I am not the police or the FBI, but I certainly can share my opinion based on what I find. Freedom of religion is a constitutional right, and so it's a freedom of speech. This is not a dictatorship. This is not North Korea. This is the US, where journalists have freedom of the press. You're not a journalist, darling. Having accounts like this will not help any legal cases you seek to carry out. It will only prove my counterclaim. No, it won't. Maybe you should delete these pages since you wouldn't want them used against you in court. I don't think they're upset. Because they were actually taking posts that she's made and commentating on the posts. They're doing exactly what she's doing. Publicly available information that she's put on her Instagram, and they're making commentary about it. How is that wrong? And in fact, the stuff's about them. So of course they're going to hit out. Anyway. It's hilarious. And there is human trafficking, but I haven't seen enough evidence to be able to make that. All I can say is if the police and the FBI aren't interested, then it's fair to say that there's no crime being committed. And therefore, her implication that they're criminals could be deemed defamatory. And the fact that she's rounding up people to contact sponsors and trying to call out the sponsor people to cancel their sponsorship is actually causing harm to the business. So, yeah, we'll just see. All right, let's sit through this. Sorry, people. I can speed that up, I think. I can speed it up. Then speed it up. We'll do it 1.25. That way we can't get done for she can't complain about
feeling a little saucy.
I missed the start. Apparently she goes on a rant. She's feeling a little saucy. Well, yeah. 7M could have a case of loss of income. That is one of the points of view, or one of the torts that needs to be proven is you can do for damage to reputation, and look, I'm really just talking about Australia here. Well, if you look at Barilaro and his claim against Google, one of it was damage to reputation, so he's going to get damage to reputation. He's also going to get compensated for loss of income. So yes, they could. And I mean, to me, Friendly Geordies is nothing compared to this.
Feeling a little sassy.
Was she supposed to say sassy and said saucy? Is that what she said? She says, I drop a few F-bombs. Sorry, not sorry.
Feeling a little sassy. Irritated. And ready to share with you some details.
I'm irritated too. I'm irritated too, by the way. Australian defamation laws are horrid.
First of all, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, when am I going to get back to the Duggars in reality television? When this group stops abusing people.
That means never, or until her income starts to drop.
So, yes, my Snoop.
Hi, Tracy says, hi, Joe. I thought she had a high IQ. Well, I did too, and if you're going to mention about her voice being high, I've sped it up.
Sure, I feel like I'm totally in my pajamas right now.
As I said, she wears her Snoopy shirt when she's around the time she's ready to be sued, I think.
So tonight, I want to share with you some information. You know, it's weird because the Shins have been smearing me and like acting like I'm Antichrist and I'm the worst one. And I'm so mean and I'm lying and I'm a horrible mom and I'm a bad person. But I can assure you that at no time in my life have I ever sent an email to a woman that is my mentee, who I am assigned to be their spiritual guider.
Well, you're not going to be asked to be a spiritual guider to someone because you don't believe in anything. You're an atheist. So no one's going to ask you to be a spiritual guide to anything. We need to drop... of course they need to be able to drop parliamentary privilege, the Fox. You're correct.
And derail them and degrade them.
But you do that lots of times, degrade women. Do we need to start making a list of all the women that she's degraded, allegedly?
And the emails that Hannah is sending to these women is so disgusting. If you can imagine Miranda, Kendra, Alex getting these kinds of emails daily, this is the message that they're hearing. This is what they're seeing every time they speak to a church leader. I wanted to show you this specifically because I want to show you how they scare people. This is a simple email that is sent out to members for Christmas. This was
again, we're seeing a screenshot. I can't see the header, so I don't know that it's an email. It looks like it's an email. For me, if I was looking at this objectively, I am looking at it objectively. I'm trying to look at this objectively and says, yeah, it looks like something, but can I say it's an email? No, it's a screenshot of something. How do I... it doesn't tell me anything. It's just a pretty... I mean, it could have been a letter. I know it could have been a letter. It could have been a flyer. I don't know.
Sent in 2017. And she says, as always, it is a privilege to serve with you all day until the day of our rapture. Until the day of our rapture, we are stronger together. It's not until the day that we die, it's until the day of our rapture. Believing that life is going to end with rapture?
Oh no, she's not going to give us another incorrect biblical lecture, are we? Christians believe in the rapture, the return of Christ. That's what the rapture is.
Not that we will die, but that the world is coming to an end and that we must prepare for doomsday.
Yeah, that's what all of Revelation's about. And even science has said that the earth has only got a limited lifespan before it's going to end. So yes, the world is going to end.
This is a doomsday cult.
Oh no, she's not going there, is she? Oh no. Oh no.
This is from Hannah Grace Shin in 2017. Until the day of our rapture.
Uh-oh, I must attend a doomsday cult because we believe in the rapture. I believe the whole of Revelation is about the return of Christ. I thought she said she'd read the Bible. And also Jesus talked about the fact that he would return again as well. So hello. I don't know. What's she on?
Then there is this. Sent to.
Now, again, it says from Hannah Grace sent to, it doesn't say who got. GGB1 says, says, I got blocked during this live. I couldn't keep my mouth shut this time. And the Fox says, Earth is due to end in about 4.89 billion years, give or take a week or two. So when she's saying about the Earth isn't going to end, I mean, she's essentially now going against science. So again, we've got something that looks like an email. This is more like an email. You're going to see that she's going to struggle to read this.
Someone who is not obeying. Sent to someone who's being disobedient, rebellious. And she says, you surprise me with your evals, just so detailed. To put it simply, you need to simplify your life in words, thoughts, possessions, in every area.
She's never had a job appraisal. Seriously, have you had job appraisals? And they go, this actually sort of reminds me of a job appraisal, to be honest with you.
Of course, if you were thinking this way, then continue to report it as you think. Yet eventually, I want to see your thoughts, life simplified and under restriction.
In my job evaluation, I got advised that I actually had to work less. That came out of that I was spending too much time working and giving of my time for free because I wanted to get the job done, and I was sort of working for free, not putting in the hours because I like what I do. But and it was like this, you need to cut down the hours, the free hours that you're doing, work less, So, yeah, I mean, part of this reminds me of a job evaluation. I'm just saying. And every time I watch one of her lives, I'm just reminded with how out of touch she is with the real world, in my opinion, because, as I said, some of this stuff is what we get in the real world. I've heard some job evaluations where they've gone, you talk too much on the phone, you spend too much time on your emails, you need to cut down this and that.
I want to see your life under restriction. So you have to report every one of your thoughts and feelings to her so that she can use it to hurt you and to shame you. Some of your detailed, sometimes complicated ways can be very useful when it comes to business and things you need to operate in this world. Yet with the things of God, it's a huge hindrance. She got these messages from her weekly.
There's also people that have to do weekly evaluations for their job. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen what the expectation is. A friend of mine was told off for being too efficient when doing community service. I know. That's the other thing. That was part of my problem when I was in working for the government organisation. I was helping people get off the system.
It will lead you into numerous rabbit holes and spin your mind until round and round until you're too tired to do anything else. This is not how you conserve your energy for the more important things. We will attack this year. What I need from you is your continued effort to let go and obey. Let go and obey. You don't need to understand anything. You just need to do it. Once an instruction is given, it doesn't just stop there. Sometimes there are many back and forth communications to clarify and find out how to carry out the task. If you're uncertain, you can always ask. Can we talk about?
If you're unsure, sometimes there are many back and forth communications to clarify and find out how to carry out the task. If you're uncertain, you can always ask. All right, how many people have been told to ask if they're uncertain about doing a task in their job? My whole point is, if there is some issues with this group, this is not helping. I've said this all along. This is not helping because in Australia and America have laws about what employers ask. That's right. But for me, this line, if you are uncertain, you can always ask, is the standard that most employers will say. Most people will say, if you're not sure, ask.
How confusing that is. Let go and obey. Don't think about it, but you can ask questions. She's intentionally trying to confuse this woman to think like, okay, you have to obey, but then you can ask questions. But really, you have to obey. There will be moments I will change my mind and my instruction because of the climate changes. This could change at a moment's notice. Go left tomorrow. If I say go left tomorrow and I say go right, then you go right. I don't understand why you would waste your time thinking about what I said yesterday, about what I said today. What's the issue here? This is not complicated. You are making it complicated. Narrow down your thought patterns. They are all over the place.
All right, she's going to now really mess up this sentence. How many times have you gone to do something one day that you were told to do the next day, and then it was changed on you and you got to do it how you did it last week, and then the day after you got to do it it annoys me, but it does happen. And I also find out it depends whether your supervisor changes as well or if the big bosses are around.
You must build a proper frame in your mind and then operate within those boundaries. You are not allowed to cross boundaries that you are not authorized.
That's okay. Yes, you got to stay in your lane at work. Yeah, I understand. That's what that's saying. You can't answer questions of something that you're not qualified to answer. As I said, I'm just saying, to me, this looks like anyway.
You're not allowed to cross boundaries that you are not authorized. This is not your place to judge anyone. First of all, you are not God. But Robert is. So, first of all, let me just say here, Hannah, you are a 43-year-old woman who has no business telling anyone how to live their lives.
KJ, you are a 42-year-old woman and have no business telling people how to run their lives.
Another is this. Don't question your authority. Whatever they say goes. These kinds of boundaries must be reinforced and dealt with if disobeyed. Yes, we are soldiers, elite ones at that.
Yes. So if you overstep your mark in your job, you'll get a please explain by the boss.
So if you don't listen to me, you will be punished.
If you don't listen to me, you'll lose your job because, in Australia, you have to be put onto a performance plan. You'll be given a warning and put on a performance plan where you'll need to have your performance monitored with weekly meetings.
This is how we battle and how we prepare. This is who we are. Now we make changes every chance we get because there's a lot of work to be done.
The Fox says, Joanne, she's not being hypocritical. Didn't Jesus say that is not on? Yeah, but she doesn't believe in Jesus, so that will be her excuse.
This is aggressive. This is intimidating. This is manipulative.
Oh, she's not seen emails from some employers. Seriously, oh yeah. Because, yeah, and she's obviously not worked for a government department. Because I've worked for a government department, and it's like, if you continue with your behaviour, we will have no choice but to take disciplinary action against you. Hello?
This is gaslighting. This is abusive. In no place in the Bible does it say that you...
I rarely care, but what is she talking about? I got no idea, to be honest with you, Robin. Oh, she's talking about this 7M group, this management group of dancers that she's calling a cult, and she's trying to prove that they're controlling everybody. So this email is allegedly proof of control. But my point is, it's just like my whole point is that this could be an employer's email to an employer. An employer's email to an employee.
You are supposed to listen to Hannah Grace Shin. Now imagine you are a 25-year-old girl.
A 25-year-old woman. 25-year-old woman. They're not a girl.
In no place in the Bible does it say that you are supposed to listen to Hannah Grace Shin.
No place in the Bible does it say that I'm to listen to Katie Joy Paulson.
Now imagine.
Oh, but yeah, look, some of that stuff's really strange. But look, I've had some really weird stuff. I had some really weird stuff when I was working for a company. And I was told, but I have been told by one person, one boss, that I had to obey them.
Imagine you are a 25-year-old girl. You grew up in Michigan. Your parents gave you a really sweet life where they supported you and gave you everything that you needed and supported everything that
Is this about Miranda again?
You did. You never rebelled. You never had a moment where you were naughty or got in trouble or dated the wrong boy or had your, like, random freak-out moment like a teen. You were a good girl.
Is this about Miranda again? I thought it wasn't about Miranda. But it's not about Miranda. I'm not talking about Miranda. Because we know that that's a family dispute that should be left alone to be sorted out within the family.
And all you wanted to do was please people. And then you fucking meet Hannah Shin. And she tells you to just fucking obey her. Don't ask questions.
But that's what she does. You're not allowed to ask questions of Katie Joy because she'll block you. You've got to obey her. A friend of mine was told not to get pregnant because she's too good of a worker. Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard of that too. It happens. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it happens.
Or face the consequences. Who the fuck are you, Hannah, to tell anyone? What gives you the fucking right to tell anybody to obey you? What have you done in your life that qualifies you to tell a grown woman?
Oh, now she's a grown woman. She's not a child. She's not a girl anymore. We're now a grown. She's now a grown woman. So apparently she's really on her rant here.
If they don't obey you, they will face consequences.
Serious consequences. Hello, Cal. I've sped her voice up, but it hasn't helped much.
If any of you are questioning what the hell these girls are going through, this is what they're facing every fucking day. This is what they're fucking facing. This bullshit. This is abuse.
All right. As I said, parts of that I've actually had written in emails to me from employers. So some of it's a bit weird. As I said, I don't know enough. Hello, Kellyanne. But my concern is this rant is, yeah. As I said, it's obvious to me that she's never had a performance appraisal, because if you knew what a performance appraisal, you get.
This is trafficking. This is
How is it trafficking?
Coercion. This is manipulation.
It's no different to you deleting comments or kicking people out of your chats.
This is someone who was in your church for fucking years, Hannah, and you went off on her like this.
I have no idea. Doesn't, by the sound of it, gonna find the funny. Look, I'm trying to find the funny side of it, Cal.
And then you tell them in other emails, it's such a pleasure to serve with you until the day of our rapture. To not make them forget that soon their day is coming and the end times are here. So you scare your members with the fear of fucking burning in hell.
That's not what the rapture is! That's not... I think you need to go back and read your Bible. So the rapture is burning in hell, is it? Oh, no. Katie Joy. Oh, boy. Oh. The rapture's got nothing to do with... Ugh.
You tell them if they don't obey you, then what? What gives you the right? What gives you the right? Who the fuck are you? You're no one. You are no one.
Ditto.
You are a woman that has forged signatures on checks. You are a woman that has coerced people.
Where's the allegedly? Because at the moment she's talking as if it is fact. And remember, everything should be alleged unless it is proven in a court of law. And as far as I know, even the lawsuits and everything else that she has brought forward has actually never been proven in a court of law.
To allow you to go into their bank accounts and pay and take money out of their bank accounts. You are not helping these people. And if you think for 1 second that it is not lost on me that this is not you writing this, you have another fucking thing coming. So you allow them to rest and are free to nap and socialize and create content. Do you know what creating content actually is for a social media influencer? Creating content is a full-time job.
Well, there you go. That's why I'm not an influencer. Because I don't have time.
I create content. I put out content every single day.
Yes, and your child's got COVID.
It's work. Creating content is not leisure. Dancing under lights with film, someone filming you and like having your hair done and professional like makeup on, that is not leisure. That is...
How do you know? That might be someone's idea of fun. Simpsons KJ's idea of the Bible is what she sees on. I think so.
Work, and then you're saying that they're not working for you while you're then uploading those videos onto your algorithm, and you're cheating the algorithm, because not only are you cheating the algorithm by cross-posting them on multiple pages, which is illegal. You're uploading videos across multiple YouTube channels, which is a violation of YouTube. It's also not allowed on Instagram. And Isaiah's account cross-posts everything that's already put out there. But on top of that, you're creating fake accounts to bump up the algorithm. So when
So again, allegations. Where's the proof? Show us the receipts. Hello, Terry. Surprise indeed. Hello, Joe and everyone. Yes, she put that on her Instagram that he's got COVID. Apparently one of the healthcare nurses brought it in. So keeping him at home didn't stop him from getting COVID.
Chloe wasn't taking off, you literally emailed your members and told them to create as many fake accounts as possible.
Allegedly.
And leave as many comments as possible.
Allegedly.
Keep your identity a secret.
Allegedly.
You're faking everything.
Allegedly.
All of this is fake.
Allegedly.
You're creating fake accounts.
Allegedly.
Do you think your tactics of scaring your members with your threats and your legal threats, going after my parenting, shaming me because I had sex before marriage, shaming me because I'm bisexual, going after my son?
Oh no, why have we now got it about her? Why isn't now about her? I have a friend who does hoops for fun and work. No, not Grace. Well, that's right. I mean, there are musicians that I know that when they're not performing, they've always got their instrument in their hand, and playing music. So, for example, I was told of an Australian singer, a rocker called Ian Moss, and what does he do after his concerts? He will sit up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning playing his guitar. Why? Because he loves it. He does it, and he'll sit up most nights. He always has a guitar in his hand. He's always playing his guitar. Why? Because he loves it. Is he always performing? No. Every story is about her.
Do you think any of that fucking scares me, Hannah? No, because to me, Hannah, you're a no one.
Allegedly.
You don't scare me.
Allegedly.
I have members that I speak to, former members, every day. That's where this is coming from. We have emails times 100.
Is KJ addressing her fans, or is this a direct message to whom she took him? I got no idea, Cal. I've got no idea. It started off one way. She's changed tangents. I was told that I was reading comments about the fact it was a good one to watch. Yes, her son is V. Yes, he has COVID. She's really paranoid about everything and imagining these people are coming after her. Yeah.
Times 1,000. We have everything. You are found out. Emails, audio, video, photographs, titles, real estate transactions, everything. We know about the double dipping and the illegal stuff you're doing in real estate, where you're doing escrow accounts when you're not supposed to. In the state of California, it's not legal for the agent to also hold escrow and do mortgage, and yet you're doing all three and hiding.
If this was an investigation, she's just blown it. In my opinion, she's just. You never play your hand when you're trying to when you've got to put allegations towards people, and she is on such a rant. She's just spilling all the beans. If I was part of her team or was paying her to work for me, I'd be very upset.
Behind fake,
because what she's now doing is she's giving them the opportunity to plan their defense.
Alter egos when you're doing it. Your former workers know what you're doing, and they're ready to expose every last bit of it. They know about you going into their bank accounts and taking money to buy your luxury cars.
Allegedly.
They know about Robert and his sexual harassment.
Allegedly.
Multiple of them have told me about a young woman having to escape in the middle of a night because Robert wouldn't let her leave because she allegedly turned down his...
There we go. We got an allegedly. Allegedly. We got one.
His advances. She wouldn't have sex with him, so he put her on restrictions and told her she couldn't go anywhere. Took her car, took her phone.
Put her on restrictions. How many people were... I mean, I'm not saying that... Again, I don't know, but it just sounds like someone got grounded. Taking your car, taking your phone, not being able to go out after dark at night. That sounds like a curfew and being grounded.
Took everything. And she had to escape in the middle of the night because she felt like you guys were going to kill her. That's in court records, Hannah. How are you?
That was unfounded, I believe. I mean, shall we pull up the court records of the tardy stuff and start going through those? Because, yeah, I mean, she wants to talk about court records. All of her documents in the tardy matter are all on file. All the allegations that Tardy made are all on file.
Are you going to deny that? Are you going to deny that woman's testimony? Who's Rojo?
Hannah Shin. Apparently she's allegedly part of this cult or something that KJ's been exposing, Cal. That's all I know. Is she a daughter or what? I don't know. I don't know. Let's just say that if my child had COVID, I wouldn't. This is not what I would be doing, but that's just me.
You wanted my receipts. They're giving me the receipts because they're mad. You pissed off so many people. I'm just the one that's reporting it.
Because no one else would touch it because they didn't want to get sued. They were looking for a muggins.
I'm just the one reporting it. You're the one that hurt these people.
Allegedly.
They have all of the evidence to prove what you've done to them.
Allegedly.
They know that you haven't changed, and they know what you're doing today.
Is it so hard to say allegedly?
Why have they waited so long to bring this out?
You're going to victim shame women. Oh, dear. Oops. I don't know. Are they suing her too? I don't know. They probably could.
You're going to victim shame them for not speaking out sooner? I have listened to these women cry, bawl their eyes out, because they didn't believe that they could do anything at all. They didn't think anyone would believe them. They didn't think anyone would trust a word they said.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is why they went to her. Allegedly. That's my question.
You took people who were vulnerable, who had troubled backgrounds. You took kids who came from abusive homes, who wanted security and wanted a place for a family, and you just stomped all over them. You screamed at them, you yelled at them, you demanded that they work for you.
But she screams and yells at all her viewers.
You took their money from their bank accounts. You exploited people with autism, with mental health issues, when people were having mental illness breakdowns.
Oh, I was going to say, I was wondering when the next thing she was going to start about the, yeah.
I was told by multiple sources that you guys would just lock them in rooms and let them scream. You don't allow them to go to the doctor. What about the woman that almost died when she was pregnant because you wouldn't allow her to go to the doctor? What about the woman who had was vomiting so severely that she almost died?
I mean, in my opinion, this is the stuff that needs to be investigated by police, not by some I want to be a journalist. Sounds like aged care. It does sound like the aged care system in Australia, the Fox. I was going to say, I was reading a tweet yesterday by a registered nurse, and her stories were horrifying about, I was really surprised to find out that there aren't registered nurses in aged care centres 24/7, and sometimes people are in pain until the next day. If they get sick overnight, they don't get any care until the next day because they don't have the staff. That is just shocking. So yes, you're right, the Fox. It does sound like the aged care system in Australia. You are correct. Maybe that's why I'm not blinking an eyelid when she's talking about this. There was a story that I was reading about someone that had fallen out of bed, had broken their leg, and they weren't found until the next day. They'd spent all night in pain, screaming. An 80-year-old, I'm sorry, I said the other day that I really believe health, education, and aged care is where we should be putting our money. We need a great health system. We need a great education system, because if we educate our children, they will look after us. And we educate them. We make sure that our society is well, and then aged care is and looked after into their old age, and treated the best we can, because it's these people in aged care that have helped build our country to what we've got today. It should be a reward for them. So anyway, that's another high horse of mine. But by the time you need to go into an aged care system, you should be treated like royalty, because for many of them, they sacrificed the sacrifices that they made were great, and we're the beneficiaries of their sacrifice. So they should be treated like royalty. So that's if I ever got into a position of power, that's where I'd be. Health, education, and aged care. Because I tell you what, I think, by that stage, they've contributed to society and they deserve. Well, that's right. $22 an hour is not enough for aged care workers when juniors and Maccas get not much less. Correct. They should be well paid. Teachers, healthcare workers, healthcare workers, and aged care workers. So when I say healthcare workers, I'm talking about everyone in the everybody in the education field, everybody in the health field, and everybody in the aged care field should be paid top dollars, in my opinion, because they have the most important jobs to do, in my opinion.
And she saved her life by going to the doctor and getting on an IV and antibiotics. But under the advice of the church, she would have died. What about the husband that killed himself? What about Catherine's husband who committed suicide?
That's none of my business.
Catherine's husband wanted her out. He wanted the kids out.
Of course, Terry. I mean, yes, and soldiers, yeah. Yeah. But I just, yeah. I mean, maybe that's a fourth area, but I just, I think if we're just got to look at people. She should not be sharing these stories. These are not your stories to share.
He didn't want them in Shekinah. He was so depressed. All he wanted was his family back. But they were so sucked in, and he got so depressed that he ended his life. What about Thomas?
It's not your story. You can't go and share other people's stories. They're not your stories.
What about Thomas? Gigi, I blocked you. This is a receipt. All the court records are receipts. All of it. These are B-Dash's own words saying that they control.
Again, she's saying it's his own words, but it's a screenshot. Where's the evidentiary stuff? In my opinion, and I haven't done evidence yet, but for me, this doesn't cut it for evidence. How do I know that that's real?
His bookings and finances. Those are B-Dash's words.
And I'm being really cynical here, but the more I'm studying law, the more cynical I'm getting about receipts and what I'm seeing. I'm sorry. I just get really cynical.
Jojo, we're working on it. We're doing everything we can.
Really? Because you've said the police and the FBI aren't interested.
To get the police involved.
Yeah, but they're only involved if there's something illegal. If there's no evidence of illegal, they're not going to work.
To get the FBI involved. To get someone in the authority world to take this seriously.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to get into the evidence when I start doing evidence. Because I'll just go, this is what's required. This is what's required.
This is a judge. Shekinah Church required virtually absolute obedience, and I also think the evidence showed that the Shekinah Church required most of the members to give up their free will. Thank you.
Yes, but what is the context of what he's saying? It's about context. It's about context. You've got 6 lines there. Well, what does the 6 lines before and the 6 lines after say?
Jojo.
Context.
I love you, Jojo. I love your Instagram gives me life. If you aren't following Jojo Gomez, she is the antithesis of everything that's not Shekinah Church. She's like exudes positivity and she's body positive. She's not shaming women to be thick, thin. She owns who she is.
You feel for your...
This is not a religious nonprofit organization. It's not, but a secular for-profit company who have faith in God. It is their job to manage, control our bookings or schedules. Control. Everyone who knows B-Dash and knows James knows that he didn't write this, Hannah.
Most of the members, not all. Yes, that's the thing, the Fox. Most. Yes. The word there is also most. It is their job to manage, control our bookings or schedules. As I said, I'm part of a talent an agency. I have a manager, and they send through jobs. I say if I'm available, if I get picked, they tell me where I've got to be, when I've got to be, what I've got to wear. They send out the details. I turn up. I do my job. They organise for me to get paid. They take their commission, and the money's put into my account. That's how I read that. I don't read anything else into that. And that's how when I'm seeing that, what B-Dash has written, that's what I'm seeing, because the same thing happens to me. Sometimes you don't get told until the night before where you got to go. Depends on whether it's a secret or not. You've got to wear this. You've got to wear that. I turned down Robbie Williams' video because I didn't have the attire that I needed. You had to supply your own clothes, and I didn't have a 1980s puffy dress in my wardrobe to put on, so I had to decline it. But if I had accepted it, I would be told where I've got to go, what time I've got to be there, what I've got to wear, how to have my hair, what I need to do this. Yeah. So that, as I said, that's how I interpret this post, purely and simply. Yes, and they control the bookings, and they control the when it says bookings and finances, they get the money from the people that they get the money from the clients, and then they pay me. That they pay the artist.
No, it's you or Shirley that drafted this, and Robert signed off on it. Everyone that knows you guys knows that this is not from B-Dash. All of B-Dash's friends know that he did not write this. Everyone knows that these dancers are being lied to, threatened, intimidated. B-Dash is James.
As I said, maybe I'm just looking at it. I don't know. It does sound like DoorDash. Well, DoorDash is the same. You go, you get offered a job, you accept the job, you do the job, yeah. Or Uber, it's like Uber. It's like all of those jobs where you work for somebody, or employment agents. You know, you work for an employment agency. They tell you where to go, where you've got to be, what you've got to do, what to wear. So some of the work that I do is with an agency. I accept a job. I get told where I've got to be, when I've got to be. They take care of the booking. They take care of the money. They just pay me at the end. You know. My whole point is, I think she's been out of the real world for too long. And she's trying to find something there. There may be something. I mean, this group may be exactly as she says, but all credibility is lost because of the way that she's carrying on, in my opinion.
They aren't. There's no cult division. I'm sorry. The problem with the lawsuit with Lydia was exactly that. They said that there was coercion. They said there was manipulation. They said that Robert was behaving inappropriately.
You're right there, Cal. It is almost impossible to get a job without an agency. Yes, and again, they tell you what to do. They manage everything. You just got to go turn up, do your job. So, as I said, I may be very cynical, but I'm the way that I'm reading that post was very much about what happens with me. I mean, I have 3 or 4 groups of people that I work for.
They said that the way that he treated members was not appropriate, but they didn't want to get in the middle of it because if they dictated what someone donated to the church, then every church member out there could sue their church saying they didn't want to tithe and they were coerced. Except in the case of Lydia, she was coerced, she was manipulated, she was abused. I mean, the judge said that what they did to Lydia was horrible. They found Lydia more credible than Robert.
Didn't they say they had no evidence? Because that thing against Lydia, that got thrown out of court, didn't it?
I am working with a team. We are working to get this out to the wider public. It's going to take time. I promise you it's coming. I just can't tell you about it yet.
But yes.
The reason why I'm not giving up on this is because of that. I have an entire team behind me. We want justice for Lydia. We want justice for all of the victims.
So here's what I want to know. What is she getting out of it? What does she get out of it? there has to be some payoff for her. Because why would you pick, like, why this group now? There has to be something in it for her. I told you I'm very cynical these days.
We want justice for the women that Lydia's own attorney pointed out in court that if he was a business owner and he sexually harassed his employees, he would have been held responsible. If Mr. Shin sexually harassed his employees like he harassed the female members of church, he would be held liable under the state laws of California. Just because it's a religious corporation and not just a regular corporation, the law is not really any different. You can't take that conduct and hide it behind the First Amendment.
Okay, so what documents this come from? Where is it? And what's the context of it? Through a band I know personally, had to tell them way back in my early 20s. I was on workers' comp for 3 months and they let me go just for that. I know. Wow. That's the thing. What's the context of this? Anybody can pick out little bits and pieces of a law. I could say, wow, imagine if we picked some really juicy bits out of the Tardy lawsuit and said, this is what was said about KJ.
We're at a different time than 2009 and 10 when Lydia went to court. We're post Me Too.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was a criminal, you can't be charged for the same crime twice. It's called double jeopardy without there being new evidence. And I'm not sure about the civil, but yeah. But I'm pretty sure the US has double jeopardy. So if that was a criminal case, he can't be done again.
Courts are a lot more sympathetic to victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment. I mean, Robert, I haven't even brought up your immigration fraud.
Oh.
What about all the green cards?
So now she's talking to Robert. So she was talking to Hannah. She was talking to her members before. Now then she went on to Hannah. Now she's talking to Robert.
And the green card marriages. And then using those marriages, forcing people into these marriages, and then using that over their heads to intimidate them so they don't turn you into the police. What about your daughter's green card marriage? What about the forced marriages?
I'd be really upset if I was working with her and she's just spilling out everything.
Using people who are vulnerable, who are immigrants, and then using that over their head. No.
In my opinion. Yeah, I wouldn't be very happy because, as I said, she's just spilling the whole case. Give some time to work on the defence. As I said, I don't know. Does anyone know if the Shin case was a criminal or was it a civil? Because, as I said, if it was criminal, you can't be charged again. The US has double jeopardy too. And it's really hard in where I live to get somebody tried again. You actually have to go and ask special permission at the Supreme Court with all the new evidence that you have to ask for permission to go and recharge them. So it's not a simple thing. And apparently the presumption of innocence still exists unless you're proven guilty. And from what I've seen, Shin wasn't found guilty of anything. So he's still technically innocent according to the law. As I said, if it was a criminal, double jeopardy exists. So I'd either have to find a new crime to charge him on or have compelling new evidence. And just to say, because it's 2022 is not compelling evidence, by the way. But if she was as good as law as what she says she would know this already.
Chloe to be the next big thing, and it didn't work. You wanted Daniel to be the next thing. It didn't work. Now it's Isaiah. Do Chloe and Daniel need to be reported to immigration for falsifying their marriage records? You know, it's also a crime to orchestrate these types of marriages, Robert. I truly don't feel like the people that were forced into these situations should be penalized. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think the person that got the green card or even the person that was forced to marry them should be held responsible. I feel like the person that's forcing it should be the one that's held responsible.
Now, if all of these, again, she's not saying that they're allegations. She's implying that it's correct, and she's got all this evidence. Now, if she doesn't have any of this evidence, she is essentially saying, sue me. Sue me. It reminds me of Tadi's never going to sue me. Tadi's never going to sue me. Tadi's too scared. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. Because all they've got to do is show her posts and the fact that they've reacted to the posts, and that would be a pretty interesting defence. Getting charged up for the 20-year Aussie whiskey called Ned after Ned Kelly isn't very good. Yeah, I heard that there. Oh, I see. I'm not a drinker, but the only way that I know about Ned is Ned is one of the sponsors of Grove Racing in supercars. That's how I know Ned.
And why is it on the day that you knew Kelly and Dean were going to be in town? Did you suddenly and abruptly send Miranda and James off on, like, some event? We know you create fake accounts. We have proof.
Well, that allegation has been made about KJ as well, that she creates fake accounts, and there's proof. In fact, there was that screenshot where she forgot she was in a different account. So, you know, don't throw stones.
We have hundreds of emails. We have videos. We have audio. You're not going to sue anyone.
There we go.
If you sue me, everything comes out. And that's not a threat. That's just literally the truth.
There we go. She's done it. You're not going to sue me. You're not going to sue me. Well, and if they do, then they've said that everything's been dealt with legally. So if they do end up suing her and everything comes out and it's all false, bye-bye KJ.
And you don't want that. Because the people that I'm talking to aren't lying.
This is coercion, in my opinion.
The records aren't lying. And this isn't North Korea. I've been struggling with this part of it so hard, you guys, and I just want to be honest. The victims I speak to are Korean, and some of them are immigrants. And for a lot of them, it reminds them of home and how North Korea treats their people. And they've said that it's like he's emulating Kim Jong-un.
That's not a comparison that I would be making, considering that you've never lived there. And it sounds like, again, she's gone for innocent, vulnerable people. She does sound like she's blackmailed. It's like, as I said, it reminds me of that Tardy thing where she goes, "Hello, Juju." Something's triggered her. I think you'll find she may have got a letter. What do you reckon? Do you reckon they've given her a letter to say, stop it? Because that's exactly what happened in the Tardy case. She got the notice to stop, and she just got worse and worse and worse, and she imploded. But yeah, that's my opinion. I can't think of it any other reason. I wasn't going to be on long either. We're nearly hit 2 hours. We'll finish this and then I'll go, because I've got to do all my stuff for tomorrow. But anyway. But yeah, I'm wondering whether she hasn't been, or whether her lawyers not told her to shut up. Because she does sound desperate, yeah. But if you remember back to the tardy stuff, this is exactly what happened.
He's taken what Kim Jong-un does and he's applied it to this.
What?
And I'm not going back to that.
Excuse me. If that was the case, they would all have the same haircut. They would all be wearing the same clothes. From what I've seen, they don't all have the same haircut. Hello, Terry. Oh, look, I'm just tired. I just can't get rid of the tiredness at the moment. I've been really busy. I think I put the explanation in the wrong spot. Yeah, I'm actually just tired. I have private health insurance, and it's not speeding up any of my medical, to get my issues fixed up. Because of COVID, the lists even in the private system are really long, and I'm just on the list. But anyway, yeah, I pay for private health insurance, but at the moment it's not getting me anywhere.
You have people that have come from really difficult backgrounds and know the oppressiveness of Korea, and you're like replicating that here.
You need to correct that. You're talking. Have a listen to what she just said. Them are
immigrants, and for a lot of them, it reminds them of home and how North Korea treats their people. And they've said that it's like he's emulating Kim Jong-un. He's taken what Kim Jong-un does and he's applied it to this.
Okay, this
and
next
I'm not
bit.
going back to that. You have people that have come from really difficult backgrounds and know the oppressiveness of Korea.
She says they know the oppressiveness of Korea. No, South Korea is free. Actually, South Korea is under China at the moment, but you're talking about North Korea. You cannot say Korea without separating which one.
And you're like replicating that here for them through the same fear tactics.
Where's the proof?
And you know that they're scared of that. You know that these immigrants from Korea are scared of that.
Where's the proof?
That's like, I've learned a lot about Korea in the last few weeks. I'll say that.
We're now an expert on. She says, I've learned a lot about Korea. Do you mean North Korea, or are you talking about South Korea? Because they're two different. You can't say Korea. I'm sorry, you can't. Has somebody? Well, that wasn't escalation. This was I know somebody that grew up in South Korea and said the worst thing that you can actually say to somebody from South Korea is to put them all into one group. Because South Koreans don't consider themselves, don't want anything to do with North Korea, and North Korea doesn't want anything to do with South Korea. So you have to separate them because they are separate.
These people are strong. Tell everyone how you bought your Bentley, Robert. Show everyone where you got the money for your Bentley. Oh, wait.
She's talking to Robert now.
We know where it came from. I don't know why Shirley, as a lawyer, you would want to be involved in this. You're going to lose your license. You are going to get disbarred for this. Why you would risk your livelihood and your life and your profession for this man makes me so confused.
Actually, is she just threatened the lawyer?
Show everyone where you got the money for your Bentley. Oh, wait. We know where it came from. I don't know why Shirley, as a lawyer you would want to be involved in this. You're going to lose your license. You're going to get disbarred for this.
She has. She's threatened the lawyer. She's told the lawyer that they're going to get disbarred. Here's the thing. It's your job to represent your client to the best of your ability. But you have to believe that what your client is telling you is the truth. If you believe they're not telling you the truth, then you are not able to represent them. You as a member of the court have a requirement. So this is why a lot of criminal lawyers never ask their clients whether they're guilty. Why? Because when the clients want to go not guilty, they cannot represent them for a not guilty verdict if they know they're guilty or that they've said that they're guilty. Your job is to advise your client, but if your client says, no, I'm telling you the truth, you have to take your client at face value and believe that what they are telling you is the truth. So for her to make a claim like that is very foolish and would be deemed, in my opinion, a threat. And if 7M are watching, they would know that their lawyer could actually put in a complaint for threatening and intimidating behaviour, because in fact they could. Yeah, well, that's true. They've never worked in the past, but she said the same thing about Saltsy too, if you remember. But that is, and remember, lawyers are officers of the court. She has just threatened an officer of the court. She may as well just have threatened a judge, in my opinion. So she's walking a very, very, very thin line. Hence why these cases take so long. Yes. In fact, what I would say is that if you ever get caught in a criminal case, plead guilty and plea. That way you don't have to go through a long court sentence. You just go for judgment, unless of course you're not guilty. But if you are guilty of something, plea. See if you can get a plea it down. that would be my advice. Because you're going to save time. The ones that get through quickly are the ones that are pled down. And then so part of your pleading would be to include time served. And that's going to that is going to probably shock Katie Joy, because I reckon Josh Duggar will get time served. She is giving them credibility, Juju. That's my whole point, is that she's making herself really... But yeah, you cannot threaten lawyers.
Show everyone where you got the money for your Bentley. Oh, wait. We know where it came from.
And it's a big deal, threatening lawyers like this.
I don't know why, Shirley, as a lawyer, you would want to be involved in this. You're going to lose your license. You're going to get disbarred for this. Why you would risk your livelihood and your life and your profession for this man makes me so confused.
Because under the, I believe it's also under the legal system of the US, everybody has a right to legal representation. Remember? Everybody has a right. It's part of human rights. And again, everybody has the presumption of innocence. There are some things that's better to take civilly, where the burden of proof is easier in a civil case than in a criminal case, particularly assault and battery. Sometimes you get better results taking it civilly rather than criminally. But yeah, you can't go and say, if you represent this person, you're going to lose your job, because that's not how it works. Every single person has the right to representation. Doesn't matter who they are. They can be the biggest scum of the earth. fact, KJ is entitled to representation.
I have. She didn't lose and didn't show up at court. Who are you? April. Okay, Hannah.
Oh,
Okay, Hannah, why'd you send this? Why'd you send this in 2017? This was not a decade ago. This was 5 years ago. This was December of 2019, the day of our rapture.
this goes on for hours.
You know what's really sad for Lydia? All of the evidence was against Catherine. And you know what Catherine did in the middle of the lawsuit, like a coward? She filed for bankruptcy because she knew if she filed for bankruptcy, the lawsuit would go nowhere. All the evidence was so overwhelming against Catherine. Even the judge said that.
This feels like one of her drunk rants, but she doesn't appear intoxicated or amazing. I don't know. But yes, it does remind you of one of those.
But because she was no longer a defendant, because of the bankruptcy, there was nothing the court could do. She could testify, but they couldn't make a judgment because she wasn't the defendant. So you make her file for bankruptcy right before it goes to trial. The judge said there was a preponderance of evidence against Catherine. It was damning. They did win the lawsuit. It was not a technicality. Catherine was out because of the bankruptcy and First Amendment. The judge did not want to intervene on church affairs. Catherine Yee, his sister. I knew the day I met you, women intuition, baby doll, you were all washed up. It is stupid how bankruptcy will stop a trial.
Didn't her husband file for bankruptcy? I think KJ's playing game. That is, she's making up herself and changing the rules as she's. Well, that's right. She's gonna get. At one point in time, she's gonna get destroyed, and she will do that. Oh, my team won by 1 point. Cool. Oh yes. I've got to stop going. It's got to stop going. I have to keep my track of not going to watch them play because they're winning at the moment.
Miss Yee, I thought she made a good appearance, but the weight of the evidence certainly was against her. And although there was some slight inconsistency with documentary evidence, which she testified to, I think the majority of the reason why the court would not necessarily believe her is the great weight of the evidence against her. That was a judge talking about Catherine Yee and why there was so much evidence against her.
That's not what. Well, hang on. I found Mr. Benton without any credibility. Upon cross-examination, his actions were such that he was extremely nervous. He hesitated. He didn't respond at all. He was emotionally distraught. It was clear he was not telling the truth. Okay, and what about, I found her to be nice. She made a good appearance, but again, in general, I would favour the testimony of the plaintiff's witnesses in terms of what occurred at the church. See, she's not. Hello. Oh no, I saw that you went live, Doom. The thing is, she's taken again one section. Again, she's taken one section. I want to see the whole thing. I want to be able to read the whole thing and take it into context.
You know what's weird is though, like,
because at the end of the day, that's part of it's the is it the what is it? I'm trying to think of a word here and I've forgotten it. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm wondering that myself. Yeah. The ratio descendi, the ratio descendi, or the reason for the judge's decision, is the most important one, really. Or the final decision, you know. And in fact, that would be the obiter dictum, which is legal principles or remarks made by the judge that don't affect the outcome of the case. So the thing is, the case, I believe, didn't go ahead, but that's just a remark. It doesn't mean that, you know, it's just the remarks of the... So it says, what do you do? How do you understand what legal issues are in the case? You read the entire judgment. You look for common characteristics. Keep in mind that not every statement of law is a ratio. Judges will frequently refer to decisions in previous cases. A judge's word, in my example, in my opinion, are not necessarily an indication of, and you know, it's just their opinion. Not all. So sometimes the judge will say something or will make a comment, but it's got nothing to do with the case.
4 church members have filed for bankruptcy. It's like he gets everyone else to do is like be a small guy. The trial was in 2011. And then the tax claim was in 2012. Michelle is probably like, Hannah. So, and are you really a successful businessman? In 2011, when Catherine filed for bankruptcy, you guys closed 4 of your businesses. You lost all of your money. You lost your cars, your assets. You didn't even have money to pay for the attorneys. You sent emails to members and asked them to pay for your lawyers' fees.
Judge and the magistrate is just where they sit. So in the magistrate's court, you'll always get a magistrate. Once you hit the higher up courts there, you get a judge in the middle courts, and then you always get a justice. So, for example, in the federal court, you'll always get a justice. So it's just they're all judges, but they're at their ranking. So when you go to the federal court, they're referred to as justice. The magistrate court is the magistrate. So a lot of the so if you ever, the easiest thing to do is just say Your Honor. And then you can't go wrong. Your Honor. Yeah.
When she sued you, that's how broke you were.
Well, His Honor, Her Honor. So that's the other way to do it. Yeah, Your Honor. Been there, done that. Yeah. But yeah, that's just the difference. I don't know about other jurisdictions, but that's the Australian and the UK jurisdictions very similar.
He gave up his degree, his doctorate. when you can be a grifter and con people for money, would you rather be a good person? He doesn't let people go to the doctor. He believes he can heal them. So if any of these dancers have any sort of mental health issues or any medications that they need to sustain their lives, I would be afraid for them if I were their parent.
Didn't someone wait 5 days before taking their son to the doctor?
Non-alcoholic wine. It's grape juice, basically. He doesn't drink. He just drinks like non-alcoholic wine.
But
no, his medical license wasn't revoked. He's not going to be able to get relicensed. So in the state of California, he surrendered his license voluntarily, and after 5 years, you can't reapply. He would have to do a lot of work. He has not been licensed for over 20 years. He has not had an active license since 1994.
yeah, but he still can be called
He's
doctor.
not practiced medicine since 1994. He doesn't believe in medicine. Would you want to go to a medical doctor that thinks like he can cure you of everything through prayer and healing? No, his degree can't be revoked. They can't revoke a degree. He finished school. So
No difference to if he had a PhD, he'd be called a doctor.
you can't call yourself a doctor.
Yes, you can.
It's different. Like, he finished medical school. I already explained this in another live. He finished medical school. Yes.
You can be,
But he cannot legally call himself a doctor
yes, he can.
and hold himself out as a medical doctor
He can.
because he's not.
He can.
It's false advertising.
He can. He did all the work. It's like the doctors that retire, that have been retired for 20, 30 years. They're always going to be a doctor. He can call himself a doctor. If he had a PhD in Spanish studies, he'd still be called a doctor. Some of you will pick up that.
And it puts like a false sense of security in someone. So there's laws in the state of California. It's like impersonating a police officer.
No, it's not.
Yes, he finished medical school. Yes, he has his MD, but he doesn't have a license to practice medicine anymore.
Yeah, but he's still a doctor.
He can't practice.
It doesn't matter whether
He
you can
can't
practice.
practice. He can't give medical advice. If he gives medical advice under the guise that he's a doctor, he's breaking the law.
What about if he saw somebody having a heart attack and administers CPR? Is she really trying to say that if he was to help somebody on the street because they were sick, that he could get her? Is that what she's really saying? Because then wouldn't he be covered in Australia? Be covered under the Good Samaritan Act? Hello, Princess Jax. Yes, it is. Well, he did a medical degree.
So if he is telling people to trust him because he's a doctor and that he gives medical advice to the members because he's a doctor, he's actually breaking the law. You can't do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Juju. That the Good Samaritan law would cover him, but that's not what she's trying to say. And he can call himself a doctor. He doesn't need to say what he is a doctor of. Do you go and ask everybody that you see doctor what they're a doctor of? Gee, my music professors had the word doctor in front of their names too. They were doctors. In fact, many of my law people are doctors.
He could be sued, yes.
Not under the Good Samaritan Act. Doesn't mean you know how to put... Well, that's true. That's true, Cal. But I'm just saying that what she's saying, again, is a bit far-fetched. And again, I don't have any proof of the allegations. Remember that everything that she's saying are allegations. I want to make that clear. There's been no proof. There's been no outcome where there has been that a court has found him guilty. There have been no charges pressed on these allegations. So everything is allegations. So please remember the allegations.
But then he prevents people from going to get their own education. Doesn't let them watch TV. Doesn't let them go on the internet.
Well, there's nothing on TV, so that's not a big thing.
They don't get to listen to music. They don't get to listen,
Man, they're dancers. What do they dance to? Everyone gives medical advice. He isn't prescribing meds. He earned a degree. She needs to simmer down the fury of their man. That isn't you. Well, you are correct, Juju, because yes, he can't prescribe medication. That's right. Oh, remember she went on this big rant about Dr. Phil can't call himself a doctor because he wasn't a current practicing, doesn't have his current psychiatry license, but he's still a doctor. He did all the work. But Dr. Grande, who doesn't have a psychiatry degree, she's happy calling him a doctor. I still claim it loud and proud. Cool.
To have a TV. Someone said Slavic doesn't have a TV on his wall because they can't watch TV. He tells them that they shouldn't watch TV because it has bad influences. He doesn't want them to have access to any outside influences. He doesn't want them to hear the truth about anything.
I don't watch TV because I don't find that TV's appealing to me. Nothing on there that I'm really interested in watching, to be honest with you. Yes, I believe she is an actual judge.
So, if you're wondering if they're seeing this, probably not. Will they ever see this? No. They'll hear about it from him. He'll lie about it. But they don't get to watch TV. What they read is highly monitored. He does. He says TV is secular. He says the news is secular. He's a huge conspiracy theorist.
I don't watch the news because it's biased. So, yeah, I just read a variety of different I do watch this though, so pick your poison. That's right. I just read a variety of different news articles and then work out what the truth is. Yeah, Judge Judy is a judge, I believe. I don't know whether she is I thought she was I thought she'd retired. So it's like they're real cases, but I don't know that the judgments. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah.
No, their phones are monitored. Their social media is monitored. Their emails are monitored. I mean, one of the members flat out told me that they hacked into her email and sent emails like her to people that she loved that were rude.
I think I went through this when I.
And he doesn't want to have a lot of members because he can't control them because really what he's doing is human trafficking.
Oh.
But he says he's not trafficking. Anytime you're coercing someone under the guise of power and influence and taking away their rights and free will, that's kind of what human trafficking is. Maybe you're from, I don't know, I think some of them are actually from North Korea. Someone said one of them is, I don't know if it's Hannah or it's him, but they're using tactics that are from North Korea. And that's coming directly from Korean immigrants. Slavic and the money he raised, they said, is probably not going to Ukraine. Don't expect $1 of that to go to Ukraine. They said that.
All right. Human trafficking is the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of people through force, fraud, or deception with the aim of exploiting them for profit. Men, women, children of all ages from all backgrounds can become victims of this crime, which occurs in every region of the world. The traffickers often use violence or fraudulent employment agencies and fake promises of education and job opportunities to trick and coerce their victims. That is the definition of human trafficking by the United Nations. Is what they're doing human trafficking? I don't know. Again, it's a big call. This is the site. I just looked up. Office on Drugs and Crime. Usually that's drug related by the looks of it. This comes from the United Nations Office on Drug and Crimes. And it talks about the crime of it, the protocol, their response, and how they're dealing with it. This is more important to get out.
They think that has Robert all over it. Why is Miranda denying this? Because if she doesn't deny it, she'll probably get reamed out by Hannah, and she doesn't know she's in a cult. She's been given a script. Have you not watched her videos? She's literally reading from a script. She has a notebook she reads from.
I have a notebook that I read from.
Where is it? And then every time I post something, they delete something. I mean, like, if you're not trying to hide anything, why are you deleting everything?
Tisho.
Oh, I can't find it. None of them are going to know anything because they don't tell them anything. They don't get open lines.
Yeah, I think you're right, Juju.
Like, what you and I think is normal is not normal for them. What is up is down for them. What's left is right. They don't know anything. They're like...
So she's sort of saying it's her job to tell them that what they're doing is wrong and that they need to live a better life, is it? That's her job?
In an alternative universe. They don't have a PR person. They don't. Their PR person is Hannah or Shirley or Chloe. They're also extremely cheap and they don't want to spend money on things. The story is everywhere. Like,
they're cheap and don't want to spend money on things, but they drive Bentleys. Okay.
I don't know. It's everywhere. It's on Daily Mail TV. It's on Rolling Stone. It's on The Sun. It's on... Every outlet's covered this. It's everywhere.
No, they've covered parts of it.
I don't like that they're using Kendra and tie-dyes as people of color to look and act stereotypically like all the horrible stereotypes of Black people. They're like making them act out. And then they're also using them as like the butt of jokes, which I think is deplorable. And then like acting like they did a skit yesterday where they were like, they have Aubrey acting like he's a thief. They aren't able to travel like by themselves. Miranda is never allowed to be alone, ever. She is monitored constantly. She has never spoken to her family without James there. All of the communication is initiated by James.
But James is her husband, right? But James is her husband, right? Or maybe she doesn't want to see her parents without her support base there because she knows that he's going to stick up for her. I don't know what's going on. There's something.
I mean, that's what they told you in the live stream. They weren't lying. James is her minder. Someone sent me a message and said that I need to be sensitive to James because James is a victim and I don't have a right to defend his son. And I say, fuck that. I have the son's mom. I have Jaden's mom, who I talk to all the time.
She's just outed a source. She's just outed a source. She's just outed one of her sources. No way. No way.
Clingy. that Jaden misses his dad, that James is a deadbeat dad, that James gave up everything to go and join another cult. You can be empathetic to him, but I'm not going to excuse a man from abandoning a child just because he's a victim of a cult. I'm sorry. You're a grown-ass adult. His son is 10 years old. I have a 9-year-old. I would never put myself in a situation like that. I would never put myself in a situation again where I'm again following a man who is being abusive, who has a history of sexual harassment, just like his previous leader.
Again, they're allegations. Wow, she has just outed one of her sources. I would be sending a letter to that source and saying you are not allowed to talk to that person, or going to court and asking for a suppression order, asking, whoa, I mean, shows you how much she does not care. Please, if you are a person that is talking to her, your name is going to get plastered. Do not.
And it's not nuanced because he's black. It's literally just the facts. It's not racist for Angie, Jaden's mom.
No, she's named him. Now she's named her.
I have Jaden's mom, who I talk to all the time, telling me that Jaden misses his dad, that James is a deadbeat dad, that James gave up everything to go and join another cult. You can be empathetic to him, but I'm not going to excuse a man from abandoning a child just because he's a victim of a cult. I'm sorry. You're a grown-ass adult. His son is 10 years old. I have a 9-year-old. I would never put myself in a situation like that. I would never put myself in a situation again where I'm again following a man who is being abusive,
allegedly,
who has a history of sexual harassment, just like his previous leader. And it's not nuanced because he's black. It's literally just the facts. It's not racist for Angie, Jaden's mom, to stand up for her son and say, my son deserves better than this. Jaden doesn't have a father, and while James is driving around in a Tesla, I think he's getting $500 a month in child support.
Well, that's right. What proof does she have? An ex told her that. Not reliable. How does she even know she's talking to the real ex? Exactly. I'm grumpy today. Yeah. I can't believe she's just done that. I cannot believe she did that. Outed a source. Whoa. Sources beware. Wow.
So Robert said that they're paying more to the IRS than I make, which I think is hilarious because how does he know it's in my bank account? But
your business filings. She goes, how would they know doesn't she have to file taxes for her business? So wouldn't they just do a business search to see what taxes she's filed, just like she's done for them? Or is that not allowed? Are they not allowed to look at her business dealings? That's how they would know, isn't it? Wouldn't her business information be publicly accessible? I think there was I think Reddit had something about it the other day about how low it was or something. So let me just pull that back again. She says, how would they know?
And it's not nuanced because he's black. It's literally just the facts. It's not racist for Angie, Jaden's mom, to stand up for her son and say, my son deserves better than this. Jaden doesn't have a father, and while James is driving around in a Tesla, I think he's getting $500 a month in child support. So Robert said that they're paying more to the IRS than I make, which I think is hilarious because how does he know it's in my bank account?
Yeah, public documents, darling. Public documents.
But you're making all that money and James can drive a Tesla and your child's getting $500 a month. You're stealing from Jaden.
Oh.
If you can afford a Tesla, which is like a $90,000 car, right? And Jaden gets $500 a month from you, Jaden deserves better than that. It doesn't matter if the Tesla was gifted to him. If the Tesla was gifted to him, it came from that money.
What money?
You're missing the point. If it was gifted to him by the church, doesn't matter. If it was gifted to him, that a gift is still taxable.
Depends, actually. Oh, I don't know. I don't know the tax rules in the US, but yeah, depends. In some, the thing is, if he was employed, it might be part of his work package. So he takes less money and gets a car. I don't know. Salary packaging, we call it in Australia.
You have a car, James. Why aren't you running? Why aren't you going to see your son?
All right, so now she's talking to James. All right, is anyone keeping up with all the people she's talking to? Are these like the invisible friends? I'm trying to find a funny side of this, but it's not.
You can drive to see your son, but you don't. You're missing out on Jaden's basketball.
Do we know that he's allowed to see his son? He might not be allowed to see his son.
All games. You're missing out on all of his, like, everything he does at school, all of his events, all of his recitals, all of his conferences.
How does she know?
You want it to be better than what you had, and yet you promised Angie that you weren't going to let Jaden down, and that's what you've done. And you're following a man who abandoned his kids.
Wow.
The money that you paid for your Tesla should have gone to your son. While you're gallivanting around and drinking your shitty-ass coffee and making your stupid videos.
And earning a living. Mate of mine doesn't pay for phones or cars, is an accountant for a big mining company. Doesn't live rich, though. Yeah. But the thing is, yeah, as I said, I don't know. Look, I don't know how much of this is true, but she's just flying with the allegations today. Again, no proof. Well, if you say your bad words, Princess Jack, Ralph will get you. Sometimes I forget Ralph is here until he does his work.
You are so lucky that Angela is a smart-ass woman and a good mother. And that you are so lucky that Jaden has a stepfather that cares about him. And that Jaden's stepfather has stepped into his life in a way that you never would. And if you're Miranda, heart to heart, woman to woman, if he did it to Angela, he's gonna do it to you.
No, so she's now called. Not only did she refer to her by her name, now she's calling her full name. Just what that little boy needs. True or not, none of this needs to be said on the internet. He's a child. Yes, exactly. And we all know how she feels when you talk about her child. But she's talking about somebody else's child, and she's accusing a dad of being a deadbeat dad with no proof. Imagine if you said that about her husband.
You're 9 years difference in age. He's 30, what? James went after you for a reason, Miranda, and it wasn't because you were pretty.
Wait on. What's the age difference between Todd and KJ? Isn't it about 8 or 9 years? Isn't there an age difference between Todd and Katie? He was 50, wasn't he? She's 42. Is that 8 years? Or is he 51 now? Is it 8 years between them? Or is it 9 years? Because she's got to be careful what she says. Yeah, he's 50, so there has to be at least 8 years. So this is interesting. Let's have a listen to this again.
All of his recitals, all of his conferences. You wanted to be better than what you had, and yet you promised Angie that you weren't going to let Jaden down, and that's what you've done. And you're following a man who abandoned his kids. The money that you paid for your Tesla should have gone to your son. While you're gallivanting around and drinking your shitty ass coffee and making your stupid videos.
And in a living.
You are so lucky that Angela is a smart ass woman and a good mother. And that you are so lucky that Jaden has a stepfather that cares about him. And that Jaden's stepfather has stepped into his life in a way that you never would. And if you're Miranda, heart to heart, woman to woman, if he did it to Angela, he's gonna do it to you. You're 9 years difference in age. He's 30, what? James went after you for a reason, Miranda, and it wasn't because you were pretty.
So can you say that about Todd? Say, Katie, Todd went for you for a reason, and it's not because you were pretty. So 8 years is fine, but 9 years is creepy? Okay. It's weird. How hypocritical is that, though? In my opinion. You know,
it's because no woman his age would put up with his shit. And what about you, Kendra?
oh,
Why are you pretending to be married to a man who is already married to his first wife?
oh, now we're talking to another voice now.
Why are you pretending to be married to a man who abandoned his 4-year-old son? Why are you pretending to have a blissful relationship with a man who cheated relentlessly on his first wife, on his second wife, and I'm sure as hell confident he's going to cheat on you? These men are victims, but they sought this group out for a reason. They wanted money. Miranda has zero chemistry with B-Dash. Miranda has more chemistry with Slavic.
No way. Who's she to say who someone can be with and someone who can't be with?
These men are victims, but they sought this group out for a reason. They wanted money. Miranda has zero chemistry with B-Dash. Miranda has more chemistry with Slavic. The real couple, if I'm being honest, should be Slavic and Miranda. Those two actually look like they like each other.
Have you actually thought that the photos are staged? Like, Princess Jack says that. Well, that's true. That's your opinion, Princess Jax.
Listen, I'm making this about race. Don't cheat on your wife. Don't abandon your kids. There's James's wife right there. Hi, Angela. Ex-wife. There's Jaden's mom is in here. Jaden's mom is here. Jaden's not white. Jaden's... I don't know. I'm not going to share a photo of Jaden, but Jaden is definitely not white. He looks just like James. He literally he's like a mini James. He has like super curly hair.
So she's got pictures of the kid.
Yeah, he's Hispanic and black. So he's got like thick brown curly hair.
So not only has she called out her source, she's identified the person watches her.
Why would it matter if she was with Slavic or James? The point is, she's with a man that she's not in love with, and James and Miranda's marriage was more than likely forced.
Oh.
Because that's what he does. He does. He looks just like James.
She likes that forced narrative, doesn't she?
Angela. And he's very lucky to have your fiance. Like, if Angela was being smart, she would, like, literally sue for child support right now, which would open up all of the books, Robert. Wouldn't that be, like, the worst thing if, like, a child support case brought the whole cult down? Could you imagine?
She's still...
If she sued for child support, they would audit all the finances, and they would see exactly how you're paying bills. You're stealing from children the way that you're doing this.
No way.
Jaden calls him dad. And you have... Does your fiance have 2 little girls? Yeah. That's an awesome idea, right? Do an audit of bank accounts for child support.
Yeah, and what if you're wrong, KJ?
He will file for bankruptcy. Well, that's the opposite of prosperity that Robert teaches.
Yes, she's trying to give legal advice without a law degree. Of course she is. Because they're not going to open up the whole organization's bank accounts. They're only going to look at James's. I mean, what an idiot. In fact, it would tell you how much you made as a performer, actually, and it would settle this whole thing down. But, yeah, she is giving legal advice, well, without being a lawyer. But remember, she threatened the lawyers before. She told them that they'd be disbarred if they took her to court. So if he's paying child support, then that's what he's declaring, right?
They don't take it lightly. So you have B-Dash, who's a victim, but he's also a father who abandoned his son, and he has a car, and he's like, I mean, you guys, come on. Imagine you're 10, it's your birthday, it's August 21st, and all you want is your dad to call you.
She just stalks the kid by saying when his birthday is. So not only has she called out the mother or her source, she's now said when the kid's birthday is. And
They don't take it lightly. So you have B-Dash, who's a victim, but he's also a father who abandoned his son, and he has a car, and he's like, I mean, you guys, come on. Imagine you're 10, it's your birthday, it's August 21st, and all you want is your dad to call you. Literally, the only thing that you want for your birthday is your dad to call you. And you think it would be so cool if your dad would, like, send you a message online, post something to you. And then you go check your dad's social media, thinking maybe my dad sent me a message, and instead your dad posted his engagement video to a woman you barely know, and you had no clue that he was planning to get married to this woman. Did they tell you?
The kid's 10. The kid doesn't need to know what the dad does. I mean, for all that we know, the mother doesn't want anything to do with him. She just wants the money. As long as the kid as long as the child support's paid, isn't that all that matters? And usually when there is a step parent involved, they don't necessarily care, that whether the father sees them or not doesn't affect them as much, from what I don't know really, but
he didn't wish you a happy birthday. He posted the engagement video on your 10th birthday.
So what? I didn't know that.
That's
I didn't realize that.
will...
I didn't know that a parent had to ask a child's permission to get engaged or to get married. The child's 10. The child's a child. I'm not excusing the fact that there was no birthday message or whatever, but that's between James and the ex-wife and his son. That's not my business. But don't bring a child into adult matters. Is my thing, and the child needs to be a child.
Never be forgotten. And and then you talk to your dad, and he just acts like it's no big deal. Like it's not a thing. And you ask him if he's married, and he said he's been married for a while.
Billy said the mother said she refused to let her son go to church with him, so he did try to see the son. Well, that's the other thing. We don't know. If she's not letting him see the son, then how can he then be blamed? I mean, hey, maybe there's a reason why she hasn't taken him to court, because some of her dirty linen will come out to play. I don't know. But remember, we are only hearing one side, and there are two sides to every story.
And then your son sees this in the news right now, and he sees all the attention you're getting, and he sees you going to the Super Bowl, and he sees you like in commercials, and he has a breakdown with his mom, and he says, I wish my dad cared more about me than he cared about money and fame.
His dad's working. So his dad's not allowed to work, essentially, because I bet you if he wasn't dancing, he wouldn't be able to pay child support. Let's just say.
So your 10-year-old watching you from the background.
That's his job.
Just wants his dad, and all you want is money. And you know what the
Hang on. Hasn't she spent all of these weeks saying that they don't get any money? And now she's talking about all he wants is fame and money? Well, I thought all the money was going to the cult leader and they were getting none. But now she's changed it. Have a listen.
And then you talk to your dad, and he just acts like it's no big deal. Like it's not a thing. And you ask him if he's married, and he said he's been married for a while.
So now she's saying he's got money. But she's been saying they don't get money.
And then your son sees this in the news right now, and he sees all the attention you're getting, and he sees you going to the Super Bowl, and he sees you like in commercials, and he has a breakdown with his mom, and he says, I wish my dad cared more about me than he cared about money and fame. So your 10-year-old.
So, but if he wasn't, as I said, if he wasn't dancing, in the beginning she said James has no money. Now she says he pays child support, but it's not enough. Which is it? If he's paying child, he isn't abandoning his son. Correct, Billy. And 1 minute she says that they're not getting any money, and now she's saying that he is getting money. But yes, you're right, Princess Jax. It's his job. That's his job. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't pay child support. Like, hello, what do you want?
Watching you from the background.
Is it any different to a dad that works, that lives at home, that we're the couple's together and dad's always at work? Is it any different to that? Dad's always at work. You don't see your dad because he's earning the money. Is this any different of a scenario than a dad that is in a top job and you never see? I mean, I don't know what the thing is here. What's the difference? But apparently, as I said, she needs to get into the real world, because I think she's a little fantasy world is just causing her a lot of problems, in my opinion.
Just wants his dad, and all you want is money.
But he doesn't.
You know what the Bible says? Money is the root of all evil.
No, it doesn't. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. The love of money, not the making of money. The love of it. Get your Bible quotes right, atheist.
You're really going to shame Shannon? Well, Kendall shouldn't be on social media, and if he's such a bad person, why would you want him in your son's life? Oh, Shannon. Goodbye.
She is doing exactly what she accuses everybody else of doing, and that's getting rid of deleting rather than being challenged. As soon as she's challenged, she goes delete, delete, delete. Yes, it's the love of money. So it says, Cal says, some mate paid child support for years. The mum was an alcoholic. Their 3 kids live with him now, yes.
If the only way that you get to see your dad is by going online, what are you going to do?
But he's working.
Even every child wants their parents. Angela says, I let him on social media because he wanted to keep up with his dad's videos. It's very monitored. Exactly, Angela. Thank you. If the only way that your child gets to see their dad is through social media.
I wonder if that's the way that V sees his mother, or is that going too far? That is probably a bit low, and I will retract that comment. But it's going to get to that stage. But then I wouldn't want to be having him watch this.
So let's not victim shame here. Alexandra was a dancer for Janet Jackson. I actually took some screenshots, and I actually took some videos, and I'm like, I feel really sad that her life has come to this because she didn't need 7M. She is so talented.
I'm just going to mute it because I don't want to get demonetized about this. But that's Gwen Stefani, isn't it? Hello, Bella.
Here she is with Janet.
Oh, okay. I'm just muting this now so that I don't want to get in trouble for copyright, because no doubt I will. But she's not talking. Just woke up and saw you were live. But I'm very concerned about that kid's mother being in KJ's live and fueling her. I wouldn't allow anybody else to speak about my child.
Janet Jackson video.
I'd be telling
a woman that didn't need 7M. And you know what makes me really sad is this is her new video right now with Miranda, and it's so irritating to me because it's like she was in a Janet video and now she's dancing to a Janet song, sitting in a chair directed by Isaiah Shen.
Ugh.
Like, you literally were on tour with Janet for years.
But I thought she said they weren't allowed to listen to music. Oh, yeah, we've been going for nearly 2 hours, 45 minutes. I was supposed to be doing today. I was doing a quick live and then going back to my uni work. And I've been here. We nearly hit the 3-hour mark. So she's nearly done, thankfully. Yeah, I'd be saying don't speak about my child.
Feeling a little soft.
There you go. That's it. That was it. So that was it. So there you go. That was her live from earlier today. What do you reckon? I'm not very happy about it. I just think there's a lot of reaching in that, in my opinion. A lot of reaching. A lot of allegations. Nothing to back up. I will reiterate again. Everybody is innocent unless they're proven guilty. The allegations that from 2011, I believe, nothing ever happened with. And just because the judge says that they think a witness is incredible, it comes down to the final decision. The judge, quite often when you read a judge's decision, sometimes they'll put the bits that made them question the decision, and then they'll put the bits that enforce the decision. But the bit that matters is the judgment at the end, because all the other bits tell you is the steps that they took to get to where they took. So they may say, I thought this person was not credible at this point, and that might be in the top of the document. And then later on in there, as they're getting to the end, they'll say, I decided that it was credible. That's why I'm saying that you have to take those snippets of the court stuff and look at it as the whole. You just can't go, well, the judge says that this was credible and they didn't find that this person credible. But what was happening? Lots of court documents are 20 pages long. If you actually read the decision that was made over Novak Djokovic, even the minister, when he denied the visa, he actually listed and went through all the reasons why he said for Djokovic to stay and all the reasons why he thought Djokovic should go. And you could have taken any of those and said, he said this and he said this, but then you get all the way down the bottom, and then you see, and they'll say, for the following reasons, it was the following reasons as to why I came to my decision. And then they take the bits that are important and then reiterate. So, yeah, you've got to know how to read them. But at the moment, she's just feeding her narrative. So that's why I'd like to see the whole judgment. You do learn. I'm learning how to read. One of the things we are taught is how to read the important parts, the bits that matter. But when you go and you want to refer to the cases in the court, you then have to, go into a bit detailed. But, some of those court documents are 40, 50 pages long. So, there's a lot of detail in them, and you just can't pick out 6 lines and say, well, the judge said this. Well, the judge has said another 45 pages, whatever. Anyway, I'm heading off now. I'm going to catch you all again soon. Thank you for being with me. It was a very long live. I really need to go now and get onto my university work. It's just about time to eat the final meal. It's 4:50 p.m. So, as I said, it was only going to be short, but then I got sidetracked by KJ, and yeah. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the like button, and I'll catch you the next time. I'll try and give you a little bit more notice, but as I said, I thought I'd just pop on and say hello because I haven't been on for a couple of days. All right, well, you all have a good weekend. We're going to Sunday night or Sunday afternoon here, so I'm back into the grind tomorrow. So catch you all later. Bye for now.